What up guys, JT Anime Nerd here, bringing you all that nerdy goodness. Before getting to the main point, I'm actually going to have an important message at the very end of this video, so please stick around for that. Sticking around to the end will also help us out with the YouTube algorithm, so thank you if you stick around to the very end. Today I'm here to talk about a series that recently premiered and has been in the works for years since its piloted debut on YouTube. And that's Hazbin Hotel, the cartoon created by Vivian Medrano, aka VibsyPop, who also created the YouTube series Hell of a Boss, which, before we start our discussion, I have to say that I became a fan of VibsyPop through Hell of a Boss, and I've been a fanboy of the series ever since. It was after that I discovered the Hazbin Hotel pilot, and I loved it despite its more serious tone akin to Hell of a Boss's semi-never-ending comedy until it reaches a serious point. Despite this tone difference, I loved Hazbin Hotel's pilot, and was ecstatic for Hazbin Hotel. However, comparing the two, Hell of a Boss had more obvious popularity because of its comedy, being at a level the pilot for Hazbin Hotel didn't exactly give us. And so Hell of a Boss got more traction, leaving Hazbin Hotel in the wind for many years, with VibsyPop giving us updates yearly ever since, at least according to my memory. Eventually, we would get an official progress update via the new character designs for the show, which I was surprised by, but not too surprised by. Either way, I was so relieved that they hadn't forgotten about Hazbin Hotel. I was completely afraid that they would focus so much on Hell of a Boss that Hazbin Hotel would be treated like dust in the wind. Update-wise, it was treated like dust in the wind, but it eventually came back. What I wasn't prepared for until the first trailer was that it was an Amazon Prime series. I'm sure there was a majority of fans who were assuming Hazbin Hotel would be given to us the same way as Hell of a Boss, but the moment it was revealed in its first trailer to be an Amazon Prime series, unless I missed something on social media because I check my TV and movie news on YouTube, I realized that while Hell of a Boss is a comedic and perfectly written soap opera, Hazbin Hotel has to be a freaking storytelling epic. Vivzy's magnum opus, some might say. So, with all that hype left behind us, let's begin the discussion, but just remember that there are spoilers ahead, so if you haven't watched this yet, then I recommend you do before watching this video. So for those who don't know, the premise behind this show is pretty simple, and that's that the sinners of hell go through a genocidal extermination every year at the hands of the angels, and so the princess of hell, Charlie, creates a hotel that rehabilitates sinners so they can go up to heaven. Now let's begin with the cast of characters. Now, I love Charlie and her girlfriend Vaggie, but despite them being the main central characters, they're not my favorites. And that never usually happens with me. Every show or movie always has the main character being my favorite. But my favorite characters in this show are actually the side characters, specifically Alistair, Angel Dusk, Husker, and even Nifty. You could have made this show all about them, and it still would have been an incredible series. Alistair is my all-time favorite of Hazbin Hotel. His charm and confidence as an overlord really made him stand out. My only gripe with him would be his loss and retreat against Adam. I know it was the logical decision since he was losing the battle, but it just felt out of character for Alistair, especially to lose against a jerk like Adam. Then you have Angel Dust, who has the most sensitive storyline in the series, which I'm not going to specifically talk about, but it's a sensitive enough subject that YouTube would flag this video for. So if you know, you know. To put it in a more simplified and appropriate way, Angel Dust sold his soul to Valentino, his manager, who treats Angel Dust like a slave with no remorse. All Angel Dust wants is to be free, and so he has to create this persona outside of work to feel at least a sense of freedom and just forget until he's broken enough for Valentino to just let him go, which I'm confident isn't going to happen, and so he's eventually going to have to fight for his freedom. That's not a confirmation, that's just my speculation. No rhyme intended. As for Husker, I just love his I don't care attitude. He does show to care about his friends when it counts, but even he won't take their crud if they're going to get weird about it. Like when Angel Dust pushes his boundaries, Husker wasn't having any of it. Characters such as Serpentius and Cherry Bomb were pretty good, but they didn't do anything to wow me, at least not comedically. Story-wise, I think they were okay, especially that at Bombshell with Serpentius' ending with him ending up in heaven. But to me, the hidden gem is Nifty. She is 50% psychopath, 50% hilarious, she hardly swears in the series, and she is one of the funniest characters, enough to say that she's my 4th favorite character in this series. Everyone else made an impression, just not any memorable impressions to me. Except for Valentino, he made the most negative impression on me, which means his character does work in terms of his story. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. Moving on. Adam and Lute, aside from Valentino, were pretty much the most hated characters. I am speaking positively, of course, because if you can't get the audience to hate the villains, then they're not doing their job. Adam is such a great villain due to his superiority and masculinity complex. I'd explain more, but I think it's best if you experience it for yourself, as my words can't do Adam's depraved personality justice. Lute, on the other hand, is even more hateable than Adam, simply because she's an angel purist who's the sole definition of a fanatic. At least Adam knew what he was doing was wrong. You could see it on his face and smug attitude. But Lute, honest to God, thinks she's in the right, especially when it comes to the genocide of demons, despite them already receiving eternal punishment. There are 2 other characters who may also be on my hate list, again, in a positive way, but it's not completely clear to me. The first is Sarah, who claims that she's been allowing the extermination in hell because she believes they were uprising, which so far, we've seen no proof of. The sinners tend to keep to themselves in hell. But then there's the other character, who despite only having seconds of screen time, I'm already feeling hate for because of the possibility of what she's been doing all this time, and what she may have willingly given up to get it. I'm talking about Lilith, mother of our protagonist Charlie, and overall possibly as selfish as Lute. At the season finale, Lute not only reveals that Lilith has been in heaven, but also made a deal with her ex, Adam, the one she hated and left to be with Lucifer for, in order to be in heaven. This also implies that she may have gotten so resentful of hell and Lucifer for basically dragging her along into hell, that she chose to abandon her family, her people, to live a luxurious and tranquil life in heaven. You can sugarcoat all you want about how you got into heaven, but if you're willing to abandon your family, your husband, and worst of all, your child, to be in it, you are forever on my hate list. I can only hope by season 2, Lilith will at least be revealed to care about Charlie enough that she wanted to take her with her. We can only wait to see at this point. Now I'm gonna praise the obvious achievement, and that's the animation. Fibsy Pop has always had this unique animation style, which just goes well with all of her projects. It even blends perfectly together with all the color she puts into these projects. What more can I say about the animation except that it rocks, something Adam doesn't. I'm sorry, I just really hate Adam. Now I want to touch upon something that I feel Hazbin Hotel suffers from. In fact, when comparing it to Hell of a Boss, you can actually kind of see how Hell of a Boss may be more preferred for more or besides its comedy, and that's its story structure. Don't get me wrong, I love Hazbin Hotel for what it is, but I just feel it could have been better from a writing perspective. Let me explain using another show as an example. For anyone familiar with the works of Genndy Tartakovsky, you may have seen his latest cartoon called Unicorn Warriors Eternal. And despite how much I like it, it suffers from the same thing Hazbin Hotel does in my opinion, and that's its story structure. Unicorn Warriors Eternal possesses a linear storyline structure, keeping up to its main story, but compared to Genndy's previous works such as Samurai Jack, Dexter's Laboratory, and Symbionic Titan, those all possessed an episodic story structure, as they were all what us in the mid-2000s considered Saturday morning cartoons, which is a medium that's quickly dying out. This is why sometimes I miss cable. You know what, however, does have an episodic structure? Hell of a Boss. One of the main reasons I love going back to it more than Hazbin Hotel is because of its episodic story structure. It possesses that traditional sense of a new problem of the week, while also building up the main story in the background. Now, as for Hazbin Hotel, it possesses a linear story structure, which I feel hinders it and rushes the story. When the pilot came out, I can guarantee a majority of the fanbase assumed that we were gonna get a new demon to rehabilitate every new episode. We were already seeing how they were doing Hell of a Boss, so I could only assume the same was gonna happen with Hazbin Hotel. But in the end, it felt like we got a show that shouldn't have been called Hazbin Hotel because the focus was less on the hotel and more on the bigger story beyond it. Not to say that it was bad, because I really enjoyed the series, but I just feel it was hindered because of that decision. The series that's premiered on Amazon Prime feels more like a prologue to Hazbin Hotel than the main series itself, which kind of boggles my mind considering the pilot was the prologue to the show. I just hope now that it's proven that sinners can be rehabilitated, we can see more of a problem of the weak structure to finally see the hotel actually do its job while also going through the character arcs of our main cast of characters. I can't wait to see what Season 2 has to offer, and from what I've heard recently, we may not have to wait long for Season 2, according to the show's creator. However, that was just one article I found online, so take it with a grain of salt until that news is spread enough to possibly be valid. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion, and if you did, be sure to like, share, Hulk smash that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to stay updated on the latest videos. Also, don't forget to check out our merch store, Buy Me a Coffee page, and Amazon affiliate link, linked in the description and pinned comment below. Finally, I just want to let you guys know that in my wing challenge video, I set up a challenge for you guys that if I got 100 subscribers by the end of January, then I, and hopefully another friend of mine, would eat the Carolina Reaper gummy bears I have, but sadly, that challenge has failed. So I'm setting up a new challenge where if I get 150 subscribers by the end of February, then you'll see me, and hopefully another friend, eat these Carolina Reaper gummy bears. Don't look at me and act like you guys don't want to see my tongue in searing pain. That's half of what YouTube is about. Anyway, with all that said and done, I'm JT Anime, and I'll check you guys later.